Hey guys, today we're going to be printmaking, so you need a few things. You've got your jelly plate that is made of this gelatin. It's very, very bendy. You've got your brayer, which we're going to use to roll our paint onto our jelly print. And you also have a baren. Now, it's not a necessity to have a baren, but it might help us later when we go to print our paper. We've got all of our texture supplies. This is a rubber comb made by Gelli, and this is the off-brand version of that. It's a little pointy, so whenever you're using it on your jelly plate, just be careful not to puncture the jelly plate. These things are pretty expensive. We also have a few other different texture materials and a leaf if you wanted to go on a nature hunt and do some nature-inspired prints. I bought these doilies for my class, so they're going to get dirty, but that's okay. I found these little texture plates at the Dollar Tree. I bought these texture supplies on Amazon, and then just some regular Q-tips could work. Really, anything you've got at your house that could apply texture is definitely worth it. Here's some stamps that I got on Amazon, but stamps could be really fun to use. Anything that applies texture. Now we're going to talk about paint. So here's some Crayola washable paint that I'm going to use. They also make printing ink. This is a Speedball brand. You could use printing ink, but it does get expensive. So in the classroom, we're going to use Crayola or some prang that I bought from the Dollar Tree. It's a little bit watery, but it does the job. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to take this magenta pink and I'm going to put a little bit on one side, and then I'm going to create a rainbow roll, which is by taking another color. So I'm going to use one side prang so you can see the difference, and then the other side I'm going to use the Crayola red to make a rainbow roll that fades from pink to red. And we're going to use our brayer to roll this on. So we're going to turn it around and we're going to use it. Now, if you look closely, you can see how light that is. And it doesn't spread very well. It's very liquidy as compared to the Crayola, which is a little bit thicker. So Crayola probably does work better, but in a pinch, if you use both of them together, it all works out. So I made a rainbow roll. I'm going to turn my brayer upside down so that it lays on the back instead of on the colored part. And now I'm going to use my textured supplies. So I'm going to take this comb, this Gelli texture comb. Now this one is a little bit more bendy, and I'm just going to run it over very softly so I don't hurt anything or puncture my jelly plate, which would be really sad. And then I'm just going to keep going. So we're going to take some bubble wrap, press it really lightly so I don't bust all the bubbles in my bubble wrap, peel it off to get that texture, move it to the side, and I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to use different materials. I'm going to take this Q-tip. I could even use one of my stamps that I have, and I'm just going to add some circles. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to lay it on top. Now my paper is 6x9 because my block is 5x7. Now you'll notice that my block has a lot of things left over. So everyone is going to have one of these little bookmark pages, and we could use that to get the excess off. So if you didn't want to use pink and red again, we could use this scrap piece of paper to peel off the ghost print or what's left behind. And I'm just going to keep going until it kind of pulls all of my paint off and I get a really cool print on this little bookmark paper. Now I'm also giving you this paper because you're going to take your brayer, and if you didn't want to use those colors, you could just run it over this and it'll clean off your brayer, or at least mostly clean off your brayer. So if you wanted to use different colors for your second layer, we're just going to move that bookmark off to the side and save it for later. And now I can add some more colors for my second layer. Now this time I'm going to use the blue prang, and it's going to be extremely too much. So that is a huge blob of paint that is not necessary. But this time, instead of making a rainbow roll, I'm just going to use all that paint to do my entire second layer. This is way too much paint. Obviously, it's glooping up on my brayer, so I just wanted to make sure you guys know it takes very little and it goes a long way. So my brayer is still just goopy and my jelly plate is pretty goopy, but we're going to keep going with this. So we're going to take our next texture materials and we're just going to add all kinds of different layers to it. Now this part is pretty fun. I'm just going to use my baren to kind of press that down. And now I can take that bookmark paper or any type of just regular paper to create some blockage. So I'm going to rip those up and put them down. I'm going to lay that exact first print on top of this, and when I peel it off, I have my second layer and my finished print. And here are some other examples that I made previously, and when you're all done today, we can take a wipe and wipe off our jelly plate, and then we're all ready to go.